Hi guys, Sherry here. I want to talk to you about depression. Are you depressed? I know there was a time in my life where I was really depressed. Actually, there was more than one time, but I'm going to explain the first time. First time was between my 13-year-old and my almost 10-year-old. I had lost a baby, and when it was an ectopic pregnancy, and when I went to the hospital to have my tube removed because that's where the baby was growing, they asked me if I needed counseling, and I said, nah, I'm okay. I have 3 healthy kids. We weren't planning on a 4th. No big deal. We're good. I'm good. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. And I really felt that in my heart. I loved my children. I couldn't even imagine, that I was having another one because it wasn't expected. So, I really didn't have time to get used to the fact that I was having a 4th. But I guess my body and my subconscious mind did, because somewhere in the night they put a woman who had just given birth into the room. And we were talking, and, it was her first, and I was all excited for her. And, we were talking about how wonderful kids are and how fast they grow, and how I remember when my kids were born, I sat in the hospital room for each one of them. That first night, they weren't allowed to leave me, and I put them on the bed, and I watched them sleep for hours and hours. And the nurse would come in, and she'd say, aren't you going to sleep in your bed? And I said, no, I'm watching the baby sleep in my bed. And I'm going to watch that baby all night long because it's the only time that I will be able to, for 24 hours, watch my child. So I did. And it's a memory that I have with each one of now my 4 children. So all of a sudden, they were taking my pulse, and they brought the other woman her baby. And I remember hearing the baby cry. And it was almost as if a light bulb went off. The room went blank or dark. And I can remember being in that room, almost having an out-of-body experience and locked within myself. I could hear the noises going on around me. I could hear the nurse trying to get my attention, telling me that there's tears streaming down my eyes. Am I okay? And I could feel her wiping the tears, and I can hear the baby crying. And I'm like, my world is just in a whirlwind, and I can't focus, and I'm watching this happen to me. And then the next thing I remember is there was a doctor sitting next to me talking to me. And the doctor was telling me that I had probably gone through this with all 3 of my children in the past, but that because I had the child there to take me out of that depression and to focus on, I was able to overcome it myself. But I had nothing right now. And that was what was causing my hormones and my imbalance. And, I justified, I couldn't bring a child into the world that God didn't want here. So obviously my body and God made the decision that this was not right to bring into the world, and expelled it, or however you want to, call it. I don't know the correct terms, but so I was justifying it. And it took me a while, but I got over that depression because I went home back to my children and focused on them. I decided at that moment I had to focus on my children because that was what was important in my life at the moment. And that's what I did. And a year to the date later, I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy who is now going to be 10 next month. Next month. Oh my goodness. And I say he's going to do great things, and it was just meant for me to have that 4th child. It was the same due date as that of the original 4th child. So I believe that soul came back, whatever you believe, but that's what I believe. So with that being said, the reason why I'm talking to you today about depression is because depression doesn't just come from postpartum, which is the most common that we know of. Depression can hit you in so many ways. Sometimes you don't even know you're depressed. A few years ago, I was in a car accident, and it did a number on me. And to this day, I have moments of depression. But then how do I get out of it? It's a mindset. I break myself out of it by thinking of the positiveness and not focusing on the fact that had I not had my seatbelt on at the exact second, I would not be here having this conversation with you. I don't focus on that. I don't focus on the what could have been, or or how much worse I could have been. I focus on the fact that here I am, sitting up, talking to you. Do I have aches and pains? Yeah, but I'm alive to enjoy life. And you know what? It took me out of my depression. But it didn't just come with that. We were also depressed because of that, we had a few things happen to us financially. And we had to find another way of financial freedom. And we did that. And when that happened, it opened up a whole new world to us. So what brings this up today is that I just hung up the phone with a dear friend of mine who is depressed, and I know he's depressed. We've had many conversations about this over the last couple of months, and I've been trying to talk him through it and keeping in touch with him and his wife, and we try and go out with them a lot, and try and cheer him up and whatever. And I see that he's depressed. He's a little despondent. He's not doing the things that he used to do, and I hear it from his wife as well. So I was talking to him, and he's like, this job is killing me. And so what I'm asking you is, how many of you out there have that same feeling that your job is killing you? And so you come home and you're depressed, and maybe you want to be left alone because you've had a rough day at work, or you don't want to, you can't deal with the kids because you've had a rough day and you just had it, and you got to go just unwind, and maybe you'll hit a bar before you get home, and you know that really you have a family waiting for you at home, but it's not going to help. And then you sink yourself into the alcohol or the drugs or whatever, and you feel more depressed. Well, you know what? It doesn't have to be like that, and that's what I'm here to tell you. I am by no means a psychologist or a therapist or anything, but what I do know is that I've lived through depression a couple of times, and not just with me. I've seen my son go through it, my daughter go through it. I've also seen my husband go through it, all through different times of our lives. And by being on top of it, you need to make a conscious decision, yes, I am depressed. And then you need to make a conscious decision that you're going to change that depression. You can't focus on the depression. You need to focus on something that is a positive goal. So if you're upset about, your job or your work, maybe you need to change what you're doing. Maybe you need to get another job, or maybe you need to find something more freedom, more freeing, for lack of a better term. And that's what we did. So if you're looking for something that could better your future and maybe pull you out of this depression of the humdrum of having to commute to and from, being told by your boss, like my friend just was, that today he's got to leave on Friday, and today is Wednesday, on Friday to go to Orlando away from his family and wife on the few days that he has with them. He now can't have those. And then when he comes back, he's got to go back to the office. Like, he's not getting any time off this week. Sorry. And guess what? We're not paying you anymore either. If you're tired of hearing that, and you're tired and depressed from that, click the link below. Let us help you. I know that we can. We can get you out of that dull, humdrum depression and point you in a direction of financial freedom. Click the link below, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.